everybody. I haven't touched base with y'all in a while, so I just wanted to get on here and post about the upcoming assignments, the IRIS module assessment questions, and then the second part of the IRIS module, applying your knowledge. But I had to start off with a cute picture of my little pupper because I share her pictures with my undergrad students, and I realized that y'all deserve to see her as well. So this is Georgia in her new bed. She loves it. She's very excited about it. So Georgia just wanted to say hello. All right, now back to, the serious stuff. Okay, so as I mentioned, this video will cover the IRIS module, and it's kind of parts one and parts two. I think I kind of call it a couple different things, but one of them is just the IRIS module assessment questions. Most of you have probably worked through an IRIS module before in one of your other classes, or if you're taking 763, you may have, with me, you may have done the IRIS module, but I will show you what that looks like. So we have the assessment questions and then the applying your knowledge component of the IRIS module. Okay, so under the assignments tab, first of all, y'all I graded your application exercise and y'all really did a great job. I will post the feedback from the textbook. Something got happened to the copy that I had, so I need to just copy it. But y'all did a great job. The exemplary practices, during the opening, teacher gained student attention, the goal of the lesson was stated, well-organized review, stuff like that. And then also in the body of the lesson, during the modeling portion, I do it, the teacher models the skill 3 times, demonstrates and describes the skill performance. In the second model, the teacher reduces the amount of teacher talk, but retains the key words. During the third model, students answer additional questions as they help the teacher determine the value of expression. And then during the prompted or guided practice, the we do, and the unprompted practice, the you do. The teacher asks students not to go forward until directed, which is a great way to reduce the possibility of errors. The teacher prompts the students orally on a number of problems. The last item, the teacher provides only a brief reminder, stuff like that. And then for the closing of the lesson, a brief review and preview are provided. So you want to make sure you review what you just taught them and then preview what will come, tomorrow or the next day or whatever. And then independent work was assigned. So again, y'all did a really nice job with that. And some of you even tied in what you saw with some of the high leverage practices. For example, HLP number 11, number 12, number 21, number 15, number 16, number 22, number 15 again. So nice job with that assignment. Like I said, I will post the feedback from the textbook where it says page 254 to 255. That's what I have, so I will post that for y'all. And if you want to print it out, feel free. It might be something to help you out the next couple of years, as you're getting out into your own classrooms. Okay, so that, just wanted to touch base on that. And then now for the real purpose of the video. So under the assignments tab, you will see the tab that says IRIS module progress monitoring and mathematics parts 1 and 2. All right, so you're going to click here. And I also said view the PowerPoints under the progress monitoring and math tab before you begin this assignment. So that is a tab on Blackboard on the left, but because y'all know how nice I am, I also included all of that, maybe, JK, maybe, gracious day, y'all, just froze for a minute. So I left you mid-song, I think. But anyway, so there is a tab on the left side of Blackboard that says Progress Monitoring and Math. All the information is also right here. I just added it also under the Assignments tab, under the IRIS module, Progress Monitoring and Mathematics parts 1 and 2. Okay, so you'll see it in both places. This information right here is the exact same as on the home page. So there's a PowerPoint right here. Then there's me doing some sound, recording it. Then I made a mistake in the video because I outsmarted myself. So it is correct in the video. Just read this little hoop-de-doo right there. And then there's Progress Monitoring with Sound part 2. Okay, so I would recommend looking through this folder right here. You don't have to do anything with this folder right here per se, but I would just look through it to help you as you're completing the IRIS module assignments. Okay, so For part one of the IRIS module, you will work through the IRIS module and then answer the assessment questions. I'll show you both of those in just a second. And then for part two, this is where it's called applying your knowledge on the syllabus and the calendar, and they are due 1 week apart. Okay, so this part is due first, progress monitoring, part one, IRIS module assessment questions, and then this one is due a week later, progress monitoring part two, applying your knowledge. All right, so let me show you part one first of all. So you're just going to click right here. It will take you, of course, I'm going to have to resize, reshape, remove, whatever you want to call it. It will take you right to the IRIS module, progress monitoring in math. Okay, again, if you have not worked through them before, you can, the tabs are up here, module, challenge, initial thoughts, perspective, and resources, wrap up assessment. The tabs are also down here, exactly the same. And then as you get into the pages, you will also see the exact same content. Hold on, takes a few seconds. You'll also see the same content down here, okay? So you're going to just work through this module, start, at the beginning. For the challenge and the initial thoughts and everything, you do not have to submit anything for that, okay? Just something for you to think about. The only thing that you will submit for this part one are the assessment questions, okay? So I'm going to talk about this one question for 1 second. So these are, of course, these questions are the same questions that are right here. You know me, I just put the questions in a Word document for you under by the little assignment icon. So you will just click right here, and those questions are the same that I will show you here. Okay, so this is what you will submit, the answers to the assessment questions. You can, of course, work with a small group, work with a partner, work with a friend on this assignment. That is 100% fine. So 1, 2, and 3 are pretty straightforward. Let me talk about question 4. Mr. Alexander is a 6th grade mathematics teacher who is monitoring the progress of all of his students. So A is score Imani's week 6 probe by digits correct. All right, so if you work through this module, after you work through this module, and then after you look at these PowerPoints right here, you will understand what I mean by saying digits correct, okay? So I'm not going to give it away. You got to, put the work in. So you will score this probe by digits correct. You don't have to submit this probe, okay? That's what I wanted to tell you. You do not have to, because it's a PDF, so you can't like type into it. So you don't have to submit this probe. You can just kind of write the score down, right? So digits correct. Okay, then if you want a little more description, it'll tell you right there what what was his name? Mr. Alexander, what he did. Okay, so you can see Imani only made it to the letter F, so you will score by digits correct. Okay, then this is the part I wanted to talk to you about because I got confused, to be honest. All right, so here are her Imani's data for the last 6 weeks: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Week 6 is the one that you're going to score. So on your what you turn in for your answer, you can just say for a number of digits correct equals blank for week 6 or something like that. Okay, so just give me the number of digits correct for week 6. So again, you don't have to print out, you don't have to submit this probe, but give me the correct digits, the number that you get. All right, then you're going to graph Imani's data for the last 6 weeks. Okay, so here are, again, Imani's scores. I'm going to show you why I'm talking you through this in just 1 second. Then I want you to describe what Imani's data indicate and the resulting instructional decision that Mr. Alexander should make. And again, after you work through the rest of this module and look at those PowerPoints I posted, this will make a lot more sense to you. And then for D, you want to list 2 points that you would note in a meeting with Imani's parents regarding her performance. All right, so here's what I want to show you. You're going to click here. It says click here to open Imani's graph for printing. Okay, so you're going to click here. And there's already data in there. This is not her actual data. Y'all, it just took me 10 minutes to figure this out. This is not her actual data, because if you look for week 1, it's about 21. Week 2, it's like 22. Week 3, 24. Not the same numbers that are right here, okay? This is why I'm making a point to tell you all, because seriously, 10 minutes, not even kidding. This graph, which I've now opened 27 times on my computer, this graph is her goal line. Okay, that is where Imani should be. Okay, so remember that this blue line is where Imani should be, not her actual data. All right, so once you plot the data from right here, you will compare this data to the graph to her goal line, and that's where your instructional decision comes in. All right, so again, work through this module, watch the PowerPoints that I posted, and that will make a ton of sense, I promise. You can draw, you can do kind of a little graph in Word, whatever works for you. I know sometimes it's hard to print out the graph and then scan it back in. So don't kill yourself if it's not easy for you to plot your data on this actual graph. You can do, be creative, just use it in, just describe in words, whatever you need to do. Okay. Don't kill yourself to get this graph printed out. All right. But just remember, this is her goal line, not her actual data. Okay. Seriously, I'm embarrassed that it took me so long to figure that out. All right. So that is the first part. Okay. That is the progress monitoring, the IRIS module progress monitoring. I think I called it part 1. So let's go back there. All right, so that is part 1. So again, you'll work through this module and just submit these questions, the answers to the questions, excuse me. And as I say, you do not need to submit the probe, but if you wanted to, just for part B, the graph, you can kind of, oh, hold on, not that. You can just kind of talk about it. Woo! And I know I'm not going to resize because I don't have, oh, well, here we go. So you can talk about, what the data shows and what the instructional decision should be. All right, so that is part 1, part A, whatever you want to call it. And then for part B, or part 2, excuse me, what you will do, this is called part 2, applying your knowledge. So what you will do, so remember, this one is due first, okay? This assignment, progress monitoring part 1, look through the materials here and work through the module, answer the questions here. Okay, and then part 2 is applying your knowledge. So you will open this up. And of course, I have to fix it. I have to resize it. And so this is a scoring mathematics computation probes. So you're going to read through this. Okay, you're going to read it. And then there are 2 different ways that they talk about scoring, number of correctly answered problems versus number of digits correct. And if you think back to Amani's example, we were scoring by number of digits correct. All right, so what you will do, they scored it up here for y'all, but down here, they give you different examples, okay? Because that takes people a while too. People are always like, why are we doing it again? It's not the same problems, I promise. So up here, the first problem is 64 plus 57. They scored number of correctly answered problems. Here, they scored number of digits correct. Down here, the first problem is 21 times 8. So what you will do, you will score the probe below according to the number of correctly answered problems. Again, you do not need to actually submit this probe, okay? So you can just tell me the number of correctly answered problems is blah, 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 okay? So that's the first part. Then you will score the probe below according to the number of digits correct. And again, after you work through the module, watch those PowerPoints, you'll understand what that means. So again, you do not have to submit the actual probe. If you want to, if it's easy for you to do that, feel free, but you do not need to submit the probes. I have them in front of me, okay? So you will score them. So you will score you will score by the number of correctly answered problems for this probe. You'll give me your answer. And you'll score by the number of digits correct for the same probe and give me your answer. And then what you will do, here are the questions. You will compare the results of the probes that you scored using the 2 different methods. So here's where you could say, oh, for problems correct, number of correctly answered problems, I got 47. For correct digits, I got 212, whatever. Those are obviously made up numbers, so don't use those numbers. And you will tell me some advantages and disadvantages, and then you will compare the first probe with the second probe. So the ones that you scored, right? Not the ones up above, right here and right here. Okay, and then do you notice any patterns in the type of, pattern in the type of errors that he is making? All right, so that is part 2. And then on here, we also have, hold on. Okay, and then on here, here is where you submit it, okay? And again, of course, it is a Word document for you, trying to make it easy for y'all. And, oh boy, I'm going to run out of time, people. Story of my life. All right, so you will just compare the results. So those are the exact same questions that I just showed you, okay? Again, just tried to make it easier for you. All right, so hopefully that makes sense because I'm about to run out of time, people. But again, if you go under the assignments tab, you will see the application exercise, which you've already done. You already turned that in. I just gave you a little feedback about that. And then the next one is the IRIS module, and this is where you will find parts 1 and 2, okay? Remember the PowerPoints, look at those. IRIS module, submit your question, your answers here, and then part 2, submit here. Okay, and both parts you can work with a partner or small group. And that's all I have time